All right, so today I wanted to talk about something I haven't really uh, talked about yet. Uh, I know I've talked a little bit about like kind of the passion I'm getting for music and all that, but I recently kind of had an epiphany moment, or I don't know if I call it an epiphany. I don't know. I had a moment where I thought the other night because it was late and I was like, I got like 30 minutes before I want to go to bed. So what am I gonna do? And I thought about it and I was like, you know, I've got this MacBook, and MacBooks, well, all Mac computers actually, they do come with a piece of software I've always been curious about trying, or at least trying, like getting better at. And so I said, you know what? It's time to load up some GarageBand. GarageBand. So, uh, it wasn't my first rodeo with GarageBand because I had used it a little bit before. There was this time where in 6th grade, the field trip for the year was going to like some shitty like camp, which I'm glad I didn't go, to be honest with you. It was very interesting. And it just didn't seem like it would be fun. So I was like, I don't really want to do that. I'd rather just stay home, be able to like, play some Minecraft or whatever, right? Uh and really the only things I can remember hearing about that was that I think there was something going on with like hookah pens or vapes or something. I think it was hookah pens though. I remember hookah pens were the big thing back when I was like in like 6th, 7th grade. Hookah pens were crazy, bro. And I remember like they literally made us go to an assembly about like hookah pens and like why they're dangerous and why, we can't be doing that and that shit. And I was just like, I don't even know what the fuck a hookah. What is a hookah? What the fuck is that? Like, is that just slang for hooker? I don't. What's going on? Uh, but the only other thing I remember was there was a kid that got pneumonia because I think like I don't know. I think he like fell in the lake or some shit. I don't fucking know. But point being, I didn't go there, and so instead, I had to go to school, but they let us do some weird little projects and stuff. And so I was with like the group of like maybe 10 kids that didn't go. And uh one of the days they made us like do some stuff in GarageBand or whatever. And I don't really remember shit about it. Uh yeah, I literally I don't remember like anything. I think they just were like, just mess around with the program, put some loops in and all that. Uh and then during music theory, which in high school, like we had Macs, but then some of them were boot camped to be Windows because it was like Windows only software. So like in like the engineering slash CAD slash like design and fab room that we had for like wood shop basically and for engineering stuff, they they had like Windows, but they were Mac computers, but they had Windows running on them because they needed like AutoCAD, I think it was, and other stuff like that. And so I didn't really use it much, but uh I did take music theory in junior year of high school, and honestly, like I thought that class was pretty good. I thought that class was cool. I thought it was interesting. I remember just learning like a lot of stuff and just being like, that's cool. But I never really like delved into a lot of the music thing because, I just kind of, I guess, never really wanted to express myself in that way. And so, like that was kind of where it went. And we did use it in that class, but it wasn't super extensive. It's not like we, were hooking up MIDI keyboards to it and shit and just making songs or something. I remember we made like the soundscape thing where we had to like use directional sound, and I didn't even do it in I think we were supposed to use GarageBand or whatever, but he was like, you can use whatever program you want if you have a different program. So I just ended up using Sony Vegas, and because you can pan the audio, so that was what I did. And yeah, I honestly can't remember too much of it. A lot of it was just learning about like chords and that sort of thing, which I did find interesting, and I do actually want to go back to it at some point, and I'm trying to learn how to read some music and all that. But yeah, I was checking my phone. I got a notification for raid hour because it is currently raid hour, but I'm not raiding because I did some heat ran raids before. Anyways, though, as I was saying, this leads into recently the first time I've used Mac OS since like 2018 was with this MacBook that I got, and I honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's still going strong. I still love this thing, and I feel like at this point I use it more than my gaming PC. Genuinely, because I'm not really doing a lot of gaming. Like, I mean, maybe I'm gonna play some Black Ops 7 today, but like, I don't even think I am. So it's like, I'm not really using it for gaming, and I'm not, there's nothing else that like I really need it for. You could argue like video editing and all that, but like I can do that on the MacBook too. And I mean, I think it might be slightly slower on the MacBook, but like the MacBook is also running on a battery, and it's way smaller, and it's supposed to be way, not as powerful. But I mean, I genuinely love the MacBook, dude. It's so good, and I feel like it's so much easier for me to get productive stuff done. It just feels like fast and snappy. And it's one of those things where, Apple people will say like, oh, it just feels better. And like, if you're like an Android person or a Windows person or something, you're like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean, dude? That's fucking stupid. But when you actually like use a Mac product or an Apple product for an extended period of time, you realize they're kind of right. Like it does just kind of feel good. And there are some things that I think are stupid about like iPhones, for example, because like there's no like back button or anything, or the button to, oh god damn it, stop, let me fix that. Okay, but there's no button to like change between open apps. And so you have to like do gestures and shit, which I think is just stupid. Like, I mean, why not just press a button, right? Why not just press a button? But overall, I mean, I think the MacBook has been incredible. Also, I gotta say too, it is great. It is great for this time of year, because there are days where I get home and it's just cold, and I'm just like, dude, I don't want to be in the cold. So I just go in bed, and I just lay in bed with a bunch of blankets on me and just the MacBook. And I'm thinking for Christmas, because my parents were asking me like, what do you want for Christmas? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know. And I was thinking about it, like, what would I want for Christmas? Like, dude, I kind of want a Snuggie, which like they were big when I was a kid, and I got a Snuggie when I was a kid, but I want one now because I want to be able to use it like in bed or something, and still have like blankets on my arms, so I don't have to like take my arms out of the blankets into the fucking cold to be able to use my MacBook. Dude, that I can't wait. I can't wait for a Snuggie. But anyways, though, I got a little off topic. Also, my camera got a little... Are we good? Camera got a little out of focus, so we're going to try to fix that. But the thing about macOS, as I said, it comes with GarageBand. So, that meant that at some point I could try this out and see how it works. And one of the things I just have to also commend when it comes to Apple, right, is Apple includes all this extra software. You might think, oh, what's this fucking bloat? Is this fucking stupid? It's like, I don't think it's bloat. I think it's actually incredibly incredibly useful, and I mean, the operating system itself is pretty lightweight. It runs pretty quick, and a lot of the programs, they're pretty helpful. Like, honestly, they're pretty helpful. So I kind of feel like it's not even really bloat, and I just think it's awesome because, like, when you get a Windows computer, it's like, oh yeah, I can use fucking Paint. Like, wow, holy shit. And then you have like Microsoft Edge that you're not going to use it anyway because who the fuck is out there edging, bro? So you just no edging. We're downloading Chrome, we're downloading Firefox, we're downloading Brave, we're downloading, I don't know. What's that one? Like ChatGPT one that they made? Is it like Atlas, I think, or something? Atlas. But yeah. That, I think, like, what Windows has, or what Windows doesn't have, Apple does. And I'm not gonna lie, I just think it's cool. And a lot of the stuff I don't really use. Like, I don't use the fucking Stocks app. I mean, I use the Notes app occasionally, not, like, super often. But the point is that, like, the fact that it's all there and it's all built pretty well, I think it's cool. So, yeah, first off, like, that is a really cool thing about GarageBand, especially GarageBand. Like, this isn't just some basic functionality. Like, it's something to make music with. There's also iMovie, too, which, I mean, I know Windows had Windows Movie Maker, but there's a reason why that was a meme. There's a reason why it's also not supported anymore and why Windows kind of gave up on that. But, like, iMovie is a legit video editing software. If you don't know anything about video editing, that's probably a good place to start. So, you know, honestly, like, there is some value in that when it comes to macOS for sure. Doesn't mean that you should spend like $2,000 on a Mac Studio or something, but it does mean, you know, if you get a MacBook for slightly cheap price, I mean, Black Friday just happened. I know I was seeing some deals of like $750, $700 for MacBooks. I got my MacBook for $700, and I would think it was worth every fucking penny, dude. But, yeah. But, back to GarageBand, because a little off topic there. I had been wanting to try it for a while. When I first got the MacBook, I saw GarageBand there, and I was like, at some point, I gotta mess around with that a little bit. I'm interested. And one night, which was the other night, I said, fuck it, you know what? Instead of wasting my time, like, you know, watching some fucking video about some drama I'm never gonna care about, or about some game that I'm probably not playing, I said, fuck it. You know what? Let's just open GarageBand and try it. And so that was what I did. And to be honest, I was kind of surprised, because I feel like with a lot of Apple stuff, it is like heavily simplified, to sometimes to the point where like the power user is pissed. And there's been some times where I've been pissed. Like, the one thing I'm really pissed about with Apple is I try to grab a bunch of files and move all the files to like one folder. And it's so finicky to get it to work, because I think the way it works is you have to like grab it and instantly move it, and if you don't, then it only grabs the one file. And I'm like, dude, why can't I just fucking get all the files and just put them in a folder? Why is it so hard? So I hate that. But to my surprise, GarageBand is actually kind of like not insanely dumbed down and simple. It's actually kind of more of a complex program. I actually had to go to Google to ask, how do I open the little keyboard thing? Because it showed up once, and then I think I tried to click on our instrument, and then it just vanished. And I was like, how do I get it back? And I was trying to figure that out. I started figuring that out forever, and then I found out, oh, Command K. Okay. So, yeah. But it does have like those little pre-built loops. Maybe I'll mess around with those at some point. But I feel like actually like making your own stuff is actually not that simple. So it's interesting. But at the same time, I think it seems like a program you can actually do a lot with. So I honestly don't I don't think it's bad. And also another thing too, there's so many fucking instruments. There is a lot of variety within GarageBand. And it genuinely kind of surprised me because I expected it was going to be like, okay, you know, there's going to be like guitar and a piano and maybe like some percussion stuff. I don't know. And maybe like some drums or something. But like, there's so much stuff. And like, there's, I think it was in like the category soundscapes and something or whatever. And it's just like this really like calming, these calming tones. And I was just sitting there, just on the keyboard, just doing that, just, and like it's just making this really like calming like noise. It's kind of fuck, I can't think of like an example of what it is. I think there's like this is gonna be a very weird thing to pull from, but I know in Silent Hill 4 The Room, there's like the one part where the guy just like the guy who is like a kid, I think, and he just keeps going, Dad, or something like that. But that's like the first thing I think of when I think of this noise. Like I just think of the background noise where it's just like it's just this very calming, like, you know, these calming long notes. That's what I think of. That's what it makes me think of when I think of it. That was a very like funny, weird moment in that game. That whole game is kind of bizarre, to be honest, but yeah. It's pretty good. But yeah. So yeah, I mean I just thought it was really fun to mess around with just from the get-go. And then I was going to be like, all right, I'm done. I messed around a little bit. I'm okay. And I close out of the first project, and then it didn't close out of the program completely. And I noticed there was a thing that said tutorials, I think, or something, or like, you know, learning or getting started or something. So I was like, you know what, let me click on that before I exit. And I clicked on it, and there were a bunch of like tutorials. So I think there's like tutorials for GarageBand itself, I believe. But then I saw piano tutorials, and I was like, huh? And I mentioned this in another video somewhere, but I kind of wanted to learn how to play piano. Like, I was kind of getting into it, just because it's like a very chill instrument. And I feel like it's not something that has a lot of, like, difficulty to learn, necessarily. And it kind of, I don't know, I just like the way pianos sound. Like, if you've ever played Persona 5, there's the credits, like, song that everybody always cries to. Because it's like, you know, you have this whole fucking 100-hour RPG, and then you get to the end, and it's this fucking, like, super emotional song. But there's one point in the game, as my camera unfocuses and I try to get it to refocus, there's one point in the game where, like, they play that song, but it's like a piano version. And I don't know, man, there's just something about that. It just kind of makes it feel, I don't even know the word to describe. I mean, I guess it kind of makes it feel like sad, because, you know, it's kind of like they slow it down a little bit, and they, you know, it's not like this big song. It's just kind of like this very simple, like, piano sort of solo, I guess. But I found it to just be really, like, powerful. And then there's also, you ever played Smash Ultimate, and, like, you game over or something, right? You die in, like, World of Light or something. When you die, the song it plays is like the main theme, but it's like a sad piano version. And I don't know, man, there's just something about that I just really like. And so it kind of made me want to try piano a little bit. I've kind of been feeling that way. But the problem is I don't have a fucking piano, so it's like what I was doing, I typed in, you know, online keyboard, and I was just doing it that way, like a shitty keyboard online. But I want to maybe at some point learn piano. And I just stumbled upon the GarageBand tutorials that actually teach you how to play piano. And not like, you know, this is how you play piano in GarageBand. And then it's like, you know, press the K key or some shit like that. Or like, you know, press J, K, and L simultaneously to create a chord or something like that. Like, no. It was actually like a guy, you know, playing on a piano, showing you things about pianos, like, you know, telling you how to use your hands, you know, talking about chords and that sort of thing. And there's even like, because the video maybe takes up like a little bit of the screen, like maybe like this much of the screen, I would say. And then there's like a piano view, so you see like a whole piano thing. I don't know what the terminology is. You see like all the piano keys, and you can see where his fingers go on the keys, like in time with the tutorial. And not only that, but I didn't even realize it at first, but they actually show you like which fingers are going on what keys. So it'll be like, you know, it'll show like 1, 3, and 5 or something like that. And that's like to symbolize like the pinky and the middle finger and the thumb. And I was just like, dude, this is awesome. And there's still like 7 more tutorials after that. Like, that was just the first one. I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. And then there's 7 more after that that are free. And then, I mean, apparently you can buy more. But the fact that there's like real tutorials I could get inside GarageBand, I was just like, what the fuck, dude? This is awesome. This is awesome. And I'm not gonna lie, like, they feel pretty extensive. And they feel like pretty good. And I'm just like, this is, I got this for free with the MacBook. That's crazy. I never thought that was gonna be a thing when I opened up GarageBand. Like, I thought maybe there'd be some stuff, you know, maybe they have like some YouTube tutorials or something, but nothing like built into the app like that. That is actually awesome. That is so fucking awesome. I love it. And because I can't really fully utilize the tutorials right now because there's like a play portion that you can do. And I can't actually do the play portion because I don't have a keyboard to use. So I got to get a MIDI keyboard, which I said, you know, maybe I'll get it for Christmas or something, maybe. We'll see. Or I might just bite the bullet and buy it myself. I don't know. But when I do get that MIDI keyboard, I am actually going to go and try this shit because I'm actually excited. I'm actually excited to try that. I think it'll be cool. But to kind of wrap it all up, I was like blown away. I was blown away by what GarageBand does. It is so awesome. And I'm just blown away. I'm just blown away. That's really most of what I could say. I can't believe that this program is it just comes with my computer. It's just on there. I don't even have to download it or anything. It's just there. It's just there when I turn the fucking thing on. Wow. And it really, it kind of makes me appreciate a lot of what Apple does, which kind of pains me to say in a way, because it's like, dude, I don't want to like Apple. There's so many problems with Apple. They charge insane amounts of money for their shit. And I mean, back in the day, you used to get like a big upgrade. When you went from like the iPhone 4 to the iPhone 5 or whatever, like you could feel that upgrade. And now it's like, well, we made the camera a little better and we added this like shitty feature nobody gives a fuck about. And yeah. Pay us like $2,000 or like whatever. It's like $1,500 or something. And there's a train that is about to approach. So, yeah, that sucks. I'll wait for it to pass. It's coming. Hi, train. What's up? There you go. Get it out of your system. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Oh my god. So anyways, as I was saying, I've really kind of started to appreciate a lot of the things that Apple does, which it does really pay me to say it, but it's kind of true. I kind of appreciate a lot of the stuff that Apple does. There is a lot of value there if you can use it. Now, if you're like a 70-year-old grandma who uses their phone once every couple days and, you know, like, you're not going to use GarageBand, you're not going to use whatever, right? Maybe you don't need like an iPhone or like the newest iPhone or some shit, right? You don't need like a fucking iPhone Pro Max Ultra Omega or some shit. But if you're someone who actually does like use those features, if you're someone who, I mean, for example, like you do musical work or something, or some sort of creative work, like, I mean, for me, it was a lot of video editing, because I was like, dude, Windows laptops suck. And I know MacBooks are pretty good for video editing, so sure. And like, it actually is worth the money. If you're going to use it for, you know, that type of stuff, it is worth it. If you're going to get value out of it, it is absolutely fucking worth it. So I'm so glad that I didn't like fucking gaslight myself into getting a shitty Windows laptop and then just being pissed because it takes like 10 hours to render a video and it's not snappy at all and the battery dies in like an hour. I am so glad I decided to get a MacBook. And this is just another reason to add on top of it. Like, I already had my fucking giant list of reasons as to why I think the MacBook was a good decision. And now there's GarageBand too? Like, okay. What else next? Like, was Apple just gonna fucking, like, just give me a wife or something? They're just gonna, like, ship me a wife? Like, okay. Is that what's coming next? Like, am I just gonna get $1 billion? Am I just gonna be the next, like, Elon Musk, but not, like, Elon Musk? Like, what the fuck is going on, man? It's crazy how much they fucking give you, you know? It's insane. And I never thought I would be doing this. I never thought this would happen. But here we are, me glazing fucking Apple. Because, I mean, genuinely, like, it's a good product. I don't know what else to say. It's good. It's good. It's good. But yeah, honestly, I think a lot of it really does kind of come from my more creative side, though. Because I feel like if I didn't care about creative stuff, I mean, what would I do with the MacBook? It's like, I guess I would use it to browse the internet. Like, I could do that on a Windows laptop too. And I could spend less money to do that. But for all the things that I can do with this MacBook, it's like, dude, this was so fucking worth it. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I think just the turnaround really speaks for itself. Going from the fucking, like, Apple hater to, like, the fucking Apple fanboy at this point. Although I'm not really going to be exactly an Apple fanboy, because I'm probably not getting rid of Samsung phones anytime soon, I'm being honest. Like, I'm still gonna be an Android guy. I like Android better. Even though, honestly, like, I think probably a lot of problems with iOS too. But yeah. Anyways, though, I think it's where I'm gonna end this, and I'm going to go record something else because I have one other video to talk about to record. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm losing my mind, I guess. But yeah, I guess that's it.